George Bernard Shaw, born on 26 July 1856 and died on 2nd November 1950, also known simply as Bernard Shaw, was an Irish playwright, critic, polemicist, and political activist. Polemicist and political activist. His influence on Western theatre, culture, and politics extended from the 1880s to his death and beyond. He wrote 69 plays, including major works such as Man and Superman, Pygmalion, and Saint John, with a wide range incorporating both contemporary satire and historical allegory. He wrote more than 69 plays, including major works such as Man and Superman, Pygmalion, and Saint John, with a range incorporating both contemporary satire and historical allegory. Shaw became the leading dramatist of his generation and in 1925 was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. Born in Dublin, Shaw moved to London in 1876, where he struggled to establish himself as a writer and novelist and embarked on a rigorous process of self-education. By the mid-1880s, he had become a respected theatre and music critic. Following a political awakening, he joined the Gradualist Fabian Society and became its most prominent pamphleteer. Shaw had been writing plays for years before his first public success, Arms and the Man, in 1894. Influenced by Henrik Ibsen, he sought to introduce a new realism into English language drama, using his plays as vehicles to disseminate his political, social, and religious ideas. By the early 20th century, his reputation as a dramatist was secured with a series of critical and popular successes that included Major Barbara, The Doctor's Dilemma, and Caesar and Cleopatra. Shaw's expressed views were often contentious. He promoted eugenics and alphabet reform and opposed vaccination and organized religion. He courted unpopularity by denouncing both sides in the First World War as equally culpable and, although not a Republican, castigated British policy on Ireland in the post-war period. These stances had no lasting effect on his standing or productivity as a dramatist. The interwar years saw a series of often ambitious plays which achieved varying degree of popular success. In 1938, he provided a screenplay for a full version of Pygmalion, for which he received an Academy Award. His appetite for politics and controversy remained undiminished. By the late 1920s, he had largely denounced Fabian Society gradualism and often wrote and spoke favorably of dictators of the right and left. He expressed admiration for both Mussolini and Stalin. In the final decade of his life, he made fewer public segments but continued to write politically until shortly before his death, aged 94. Yes, 94. Having refused all state honors, including the Order of Merit in 1946. Since Shaw's death, scholarly and critical opinion about his works has varied, but he has regularly been rated among British dramatists as second only to Shakespeare. Analysis recognized his extensive influence on generations of English language playwrights. The word Shavian has entered the language as encapsulating Shaw's ideas and his means of expressing them. The legacy of George Bernard Shaw. The legacy of George Bernard Shaw. Considered second only to William Shakespeare, George Bernard Shaw remains a very influential dramatist. Shaw did not found a school of dramatists as such, but Crawford asserts that today we recognize Shaw as second only to Shakespeare in the British theatrical tradition. The proponents of the theatre of ideas who struck death blow to 19th century melodrama. According to Lawrence, Shaw pioneered intelligent theatre in which the audience was required to think, thereby paving the way for the new breeds of 20th century playwrights from Galsworthy to Pinter. Crawford lists numerous playwrights whose works owe something to that of Shaw. Among those active in Shaw's lifetime, he includes Noel Coward, who based his early comedy The Young Idea on You Can Never Tell and continued to draw on the old man's work in later years. T.S. Eliot, by no means an admirer of Shaw, admitted that the epilogue of Murder in the Cathedral, in which Bacchus slayers explained the action to the audience, might have been influenced by Saint Joan. The critic Eric Bentley comments that Eliot later played the confidential clerk at all the earmarks of chauvinism without the merits of the real Bernard Shaw. Among more recent British dramatists, Crawford marks Tom Stoppard as the most Shavian of contemporary playwrights. Shaw's serious farce is continued in the works of Stoppard's contemporaries Alan Ayckbourn, Henry Livings, and Peter Nichols. Shaw's influence crossed the Atlantic at an early stage. Bernard Ducorre noticed that he was successful as a dramatist in America 10 years before achieving comparable success in Britain. Among many American writers professing a direct debt to Shaw, Eugene O'Neill became an admirer at the age of 17 after reading The Quintessence of Ebenism. Other Shaw-influenced American playwrights mentioned in Ducorre are Elmer Rice, for whom Shaw opened doors, turned out lights, and expanded horizons. William Saroyan, who empathized with Shaw as the embattled individualist against the Philistines, and S.N. Berman, who was inspired to write for the theatre after attending a performance of Caesar and Cleopatra, thought it would be agreeable to write plays like that. Assessing Shaw's reputation in a 1976 critical study, T.F. Evans described Shaw as unchallenged in his lifetime and since as the leading English dramatist of the 20th century and a master of prose style. The following year, in a contrary assessment, playwright John Osborne castigated the Guardian's theatre critic Michael Billington for referring to Shaw as the greatest British dramatist since Shakespeare. Osborne responded that Shaw is the most fraudulent, inept writer of Victorian melodramas ever to gull a timid critic or fool a dull public. Despite this hostility, Crawford sees the influence of Shaw in some of Osborne's plays and concludes that although the latter's work is neither imitative nor derivative, though these affinities are sufficient to classify Osborne as an inheritor of Shaw. In a 1983 study, R.J. Kaufman suggested Shaw was a key forerunner, godfather, if not actually finicky paterfamilias of the theatre of the absurd. Two further aspects of Shaw's theatrical legacy are noted by Crawford: his opposition to stage censorship, which was finally ended in 1968, and its efforts, which extended over many years to establish a national theatre. Shaw's short play, The Dark Lady of the Corners, in which Shakespeare pleads with Queen Elizabeth I for the endowment of state theatre, was part of this campaign. Writing in the New Statesman in 2012, Daniel Janes commented that Shaw's reputation had declined by the time of his 150th birthday in 2006, but had recovered considerably. In Jane's view, the many current revivals of Shaw's major works show the playwright's almost unlimited relevance to our times. In the same year, Mark Lawson wrote in The Guardian that Shaw's moral concerns engaged present-day audiences and made him, like his model Ibsen, one of the most popular playwrights in contemporary British theatre. The Shaw Festival in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada, is the second largest repertory theatre company in North America. It produces plays by or written during the lifetime of Shaw, as well as some contemporary works. The Gin Gold Theatrical Group, founded in 2006, presents works by Shaw and others in New York City that features the humanitarian ideals that his works promoted. It became the first theatre group to present all of Shaw's stage work through the monthly concert series. This is Distinguished Toastmaster Brahmakumar. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to my video channel. We shall meet again. Have a wonderful day ahead.